A very good evening to everybody. I trust it's been a fantastic day for everybody. Welcome to the IBC, which is our Investor Business Conference. And I trust that you are in for an absolute treat tonight. What is the purpose of the Investor Business Conference? It's to add value to you because, as you know, life is busy. And every now and then we have to stop, take a moment, and ooze in that which comes our way so that we can assimilate, work through it, and apply it to our lives. Well, tonight you're going to have the opportunity to listen to two keynote speakers that know exactly what they're doing and that I believe are poised and positioned at the right time to make a difference in your life. Our first speaker tonight, I would like to introduce to you, is a man that is a man of caliber, a man of integrity, and a man of substance. Now, one thing I can tell you about him is that he has got a sense of humor par excellence. I mean, if there's a joke to be made, he can bring a smile to your dial. A bit of background, and that is that although our speaker tonight is a pastor, he's an ordained man, he has got a heart to make a difference in just the normal life for the everyday person who would like to take an interest in growing himself financially and spiritually. He obviously has a fantastic spiritual background. He flows in the prophetic, is a huge value add to us at MyWealth with his wisdom, with his strategic approach in terms of us speaking to each other in the prophetic realm to understand where God is taking MyWealth in the bigger picture. But his background, he was a tour operator, and he has helped many a person enjoy our country to its fullest and has learned many languages. In fact, him and I converse a little bit in French every now and then, and it's just so sexy when he speaks French because he's had the right people around him. I just try. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the person that's going to help you get to understand, do you know who you are? Schalk Botha. Take it away, Schalk.
Thank you, Dr. Ant. Good evening, everybody. I'm very excited about tonight. I think tonight is going to be an awesome time together. My first question that I want to just dive in with a bus into the door is, what is your story? Now, that might be a strange question for some of you, and I can change it. Hey, what's your story, bud? Or like, what is the real story behind you? What is the story that you want to tell the world, that you have to tell the world, that is locked up on the inside of you? You see, this is a very important question on our journey towards self-awareness. You know, I've met a lot of people, you know, being a tour operator, an ex-tour operator. I'm now part of the MyWealth corporate team full-time, which I am very glad about, very enjoying it, and it's a new challenge for me. And I've gone through a lot of growth in this period. We've been challenged with from different angles to set up and start up a business that, or a couple of businesses that has been actually already in place, but we've started and restarted businesses, which is very exciting for me because I've always been an entrepreneur who started up businesses. I think in excess of about 14 businesses that I've started up from scratch. Some of them were successful. Some of them were a dismal failure. But those we don't want to talk about. But we also need to talk about that because it's part of our journey into life. Life is not always just success. It's not a curve that we take that goes up, 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 up. How many of you can agree with me that the curve of your life or the graph that you have is like this? Yes, we have a dream. We start off with a dream. We start the business, or we start the ministry, or we start the company, or whatever we want to start. And then all of a sudden we find contradiction. We find delay. We find something that is totally against our grain. It's like now we have to develop skill. We have to develop patience. We have to develop character before we will be able to go and make it through it's like you start here, the dream is there, but now the way up is down, and you make a curve like this, and you go up until you have now reached the promised land, or the dream, or the desired end, or whatever you want to call it, the picture that you have in your mind that gives you the hope to carry on. So self-awareness is something that very few people display in their decision making. But I think a lot of people are self-aware but do not know how to use the self-awareness into making decisions, I'm going to start this business knowing that the contradiction is just around the corner, and I have the attitude to start taking this contradiction or delay with the right attitude and with the right angle, so that we will not abandon our dreams and leave broke, busted, disgusted, disappointed, and whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm a tour operator. I was a tour operator, and I've learned that South Africa is probably one of the most beautiful countries in the world, the most diverse. And I've also seen that a lot of tourists, when they come to South Africa, they want to do ecotourism. Some like to immerse themselves in the culture, the songs and the dances and the spears and the dramatic side of culture. Some like the museums, of history and of science and all of the different things that make South Africa unique. But I have started, when I was on a couple of trips, I wanted to find what was the niche, what was my sweet spot in the kind of tourist that I was, because that's got a bearing also on the kind of tour operator I was going to become. What do I believe about South Africa? What do I love about South Africa? What do I don't like about South Africa? These questions I had to start asking myself. And I started, after a lot of processing, I actually thought that the best thing for me to start doing, after I've listened around a nice bonfire in the evening, listen to a couple of people's stories that they're telling. And, I said, let me start recording some of these stories that I'm hearing around fires, just random people that I meet that I find interesting, and their characters are, they're a bit odd, but different. And that's what makes this country very interesting. I've realized that South Africa, all the nations in South Africa, every race, has got a specific a DNA which is very entrepreneurial, which I don't find a lot with other countries. Africans are in general very resourceful people. And I'm talking about black, white, Indian, colored, every nation in South Africa. We've got this thing in common where we have entrepreneurial spirit. And I've decided, I'm going to start just taking my little phone, put it into the people's faces and ask them, tell me your story. And tonight I'm going to play you one of the stories that I've gathered that has really touched me. And I've realized that when you are touring in this fashion, where you're starting to really unearth the treasures within people, that there's a story to be told from every person. And I have actually come to a place where I've seen the value in stories, and I've unearthed a lot of past traditional cultural ways of how did people carry over history from generation to generation, where there wasn't pens and paper and computers that we have today. How did people learn history? It was by orally telling stories to the children. And so what I've also discovered in this process and in this journey of mine was that sincere humility and a hunger for exploring and an adventure, a hunger for adventure, will extract the stories from your fellow man. So many of us are living our lives forgetting that we have a story to tell. So I want to ask you tonight, I want to challenge you tonight, what is your story? What stands out in your history that you can teach the rest of mankind? And every person has got that kind of story. Every person has got their own unique flavor on how they view the world. Every person has got a story to tell that will touch somebody else's life. And your purpose and destiny in life is often locked up in what your story is that you have to tell other people. And so I want to challenge you tonight, and I want to ask you, what is your story? Hey, mate, China, what's your story? But listen, what's your story? Like South Africans, we speak like that. My child, now what's your story? So many of us forget that we have to live life, a life worth telling others about. So but even though we can sometimes get caught up into the mundane and the boring stuff of life, the everyday grind, like we always say, I'm going to just share quickly a picture with you of somebody that I've come to appreciate and really made him one of my, so you can say a role model. Just the aspect of, sorry, this is my notes, but this guy over here, his name is Kingsley Allgate. He's an adventurer. So the thing he reminded me about was a man needs an adventure to live. A man, okay, the male man. We need an adventure to live. We need a battle to fight and a beauty to save. And most of the human stories that I have unearthed and really come in touch with people that I didn't even know from a bar of soap, most of it encapsulated the stories worth telling what had these three aspects in it. Besides the struggles that they have, besides the little obstacles they face in life, the disappointments, all of that stuff. But it was in these three areas where most men told the stories of, hey, I had an adventure once, and I went to Africa, and I went to this place, and wow, we got stuck with our Land Rover in the mud, and we got it out, and you can talk an hour for that. And the battles that we fight sometimes, with everyday life. When you start up a business, you're an entrepreneur, you have to fight through some discouragement. You have to fight through some disappointments. You have to fight through things that life throws at you. Life happens. We have a plan. Then life happens in between. And then maybe our plan, the life that we've planned, come into place. But it's not nearly the journey that we have plotted out for ourselves. It's not the journey that we've planned originally. So we can plan, but when life happens and the tacky hits the tar, and disappointment and contradiction and delay and all these things hit us, that's the battle that we have to fight. And that's part of the life of fulfillment that every one of us have to engage with. And a beauty to save, of course. We have to tell. We all have a story to tell of how I got engaged with my wife, and how I married her, and how I was the white man on the prince on the white horse who swept her away, and off into the horizon we went, and we lived happily ever after. And with women, have the same kind of thing. Where woman needs to be caught up in adventure. She wants to be part of that leisure. She wants to be part of that fight, and she wants to be fought for. She wants to be protected, and she wants to be saved by this prince on the white horse. And she wants to be captivated, her beauty, the inner beauty that she has. She wants to be captivating for the man and the prince that comes to save her. So many stories are told around these themes. And I think that comes back to what is the heart of the human being really all about. And stories is a language that speaks from the heart. If you want to come to know a person's heart, just listen to his stories. So this man down here, he lives his adventure, and he's inspired me from a very young age. I've been very inspired by that. Let me just stop sharing this. And so Kingsley was one of these guys that I looked at his life, and I always thought to myself, I want to be like him. I want what he has. I want to come into a place where I've got my own Land Rover, or a motorbike or whatever, and I want to travel right through Africa with my wife at the back seat. And we actually had a plan doing that before we got children. I was married for 5 years before we started the children, and we worked towards this goal, and we saved up money. We had enough money to start traveling, and lo and behold, the day when I was ready to go and buy the motorbike and hit the road to travel around the world, I had enough saved up. My wife told me, I think I'm pregnant. And yeah, the rest is history. She was pregnant, 4 children later. I've been putting on diapers for the last 10 years. We've got 4 lovely children. But my plan that I've originally had and started putting into action was a bit thwarted. The real life that happened in between wasn't all that moonshine and roses, but I had mixed emotions because a child is the biggest blessing you can find and you can get from God. So I was very excited about being a dad, and and we adjusted, and we said, okay, now it's not going to be a motorbike or a white horse anymore. It's going to be a RV camper with a 4x4 with one of these big wheels that are bigger than a man, and we're going to start travel with that thing. So yeah, my plans have adjusted. The dream has never stopped. Life has happened in between, and we have adjusted. Disappointment here and there, yeah, but the disappointment was overwhelmingly taken away with all the beauty and the love that I have for my children. It's a feeling that you cannot describe to anybody. But now we've got more children to share our adventure with, and to share life with, and to share the world, and to share more. So we're in a much better position now, looking backwards. That time I didn't think that, but now I think, God had a plan with us, and we can share them and bring them up on the road. So we've started homeschooling our children just so that we can road school them, being on the road for maybe a year or two, where they can literally learn their education through practical experiences, where they literally see how the world works, where the different nations, where they live and how they live, and what is the possibilities out there that is far beyond the milieu that they were raised in, from an established kind of point of view. So just a principle, we need to be hungry. We need to become hungry to engage life and and all of life, to see the beauty in the process, not always we always have the desired end. And when we are engaged in the process, we sometimes, start getting bored, or we start getting negative, or we feel disappointed. But even that, it's a process, and you are engaging in your process. You have a process, and your process is what produces your story. So that's a very exciting part of the way you've been processed, and you are processing life. You can now teach other people how to do that. And this is the part where I've shared with you a couple of my stories, and you've already come to know who I am and what I'm a part of my life. Okay, so we need to put ourselves in out there. I think a lot of the people say, I need to put myself out there, and we start to engage in life. And some of us are afraid of that because we've been disappointed. We've been bitten once or twice or 100 times, depending on how many times you step out in faith to pursue a dream. So I want to ask you the question: when last did you have a culture shock? We need some culture shock, because that's where we grow, outside of our comfort zones. And extremes has got a way to show us, what we are made of, and to teach us how to appreciate our own culture, our own situation much more. When you have seen, a lot of people in South Africa that I've spoken to, and a lot of stories, you hear very negative stories from, yes, this country is going down, this country. And you can fill in the blanks. I mean, all of us have got our own negative story about South Africa. But if you have gone to Mozambique, if you've gone to Malawi, if you've gone to Zambia, and you've seen the potholes there, dire situations that these people live in on a daily basis, you hardly see any clothes that are not torn. You don't see people, having electricity in their houses. You hardly have a main road that you can drive on without having to go through a donga that is a meter deep. We think we've got potholes. They've got trouble, bro. They've got much worse than the rest of South Africa is. We don't want to go there, and we need that kind of extremes in our life, and to experience different things in order to appreciate what we really have here. funny enough, I've spoken to one of the ambassadors, and we've done some business with one of the ambassadors to one of these Western African countries, a South African ambassador, and she said to me, "Yeah, I can't live here. This is not the place for me." I said, "Why?" "But South Africa is also going through some tough times and stuff." She's laughing out loud. She says, "South Africa is paradise in comparison with what we have here. People don't have road rules. I mean, the rules, you can't see the road, you can't see the rules, but the people are flowing into a direction, and that's their traffic." Some small country, I think Togo or one of these small Western African countries. And she said and she told me the same story, is that South Africa is actually paradise. This is the most beautiful country, and we don't know what we have. So the extremes will teach us. And I've often taken trips with some of my friends. We went to Malawi and we hit potholes and the car was nearly written off. And, when the steering wheel is supposed to be like this, you hit the pothole and it's standing like this now. We've gone through that. We've put ourselves out there. And once you've come back from Mozambique, back into South Africa, and that was in the year 2003, roundabout. Once you come back into South Africa, the first thing you want is a wimpy burger, coffee, and a nice mega breakfast, or whatever you like. But that was our thing, because you couldn't even find a place where you can have a nice meal. It was all this kakana and what do they call it? Was not wasabi. That was a white root. But we had constipation the one day, and the next day we had this spite. Yeah, we had it. And the extremes are the things that taught me the best of this is what paradise is really all about. So this is where learning takes place. I think the best. Cassava, that's the right thing. Thank you, Candace. Yeah, so I had the cassava and the kakana with it. The kakana is like a laxative. We didn't realize that, and we ate away. The greens is what we needed, And that green stuff is a laxative, second to none. With nothing can compare in South Africa what we drink. Adulax, Brooklax, you call it. That stuff hasn't got a patch on kakana. It's actually a nice name if you speak Afrikaans. You understand, kakana is really what it does. we kakana. And there was no white porcelain altars where we could go and sit. They were all in grounds, and it was a 50-year-old long drop, and that was the kind of stuff that they had to offer. And we had to be happy with what they gave. We didn't want to offend them, so we happily obliged, But those were the experiences that stories are made of. Okay, so put yourself out there, put yourself into the extremes. Do not be afraid to engage life, because to the point where you've overcome the adversities and the crosswinds and the stuff that makes life sometimes difficult, perceptively, because I've realized we can go through some difficult stuff and still get out at the other side much better than we've been. And suffering, human suffering, it's so relative. I've seen people say that they suffer and they've got a budget of 25,000 rand or 30,000 rand a month, and they say they are suffering because they're used to 200,000 rand and they can't drive the Discovery anymore. They have to drive a Ford Escort that is second-hand or something like that, So the human suffering is really a relative thing, because I've seen people that are far worse off and they're smiling. They're telling me how wonderful life is. They're telling us how great the crops were growing and the rain was excellent, and they love one another, and they've got happy families. Malawi is one of the best countries to go to if you want to meet people who can tell stories. The Malawians are excellent with that. They've got very little. They're poor people. But you are in for an enriching experience if you dare to take the trip and go there. And just go and listen to the stories of people. Maybe make some good recordings and share it with other people. So one thing I've discovered, and one of the decisions I've made in life, was that when adventure and your mission comes together like this, and it flows into one direction, that's one of the places and times that I felt I have fully come alive. Now I want to ask you the question, what is it that makes you come alive? And think outside of your job. Think outside of your work that you're doing. What is it that makes you come alive where you feel like, yes, today was a great day? Because I've done something that has made me feel, yeah, I've come alive. Because your story is locked up in those days. So when adventure and mission comes together, you've got one powerful, and if you're able to monetize that, now that's what made me a tour operator, is that I had a passion for travel. I wanted to see more and meet more people and hear their stories and find out more about the world. You know, once you've seen a mountain, you've seen a mountain, you've seen a mountain. A mountain looks like a mountain. Now what? You know, we've seen the mountains, we've seen the waterfalls, we've seen the beautiful creation that God has made for us. Now what? So I've discovered that the treasures are really inside the people. Every person, you know, there's some beauty locked up in every person that if you tap into that, it enriches your life. So when only communicating, and this is what most of us do, we communicate with people close to you all the time, your loved ones and your family, that others that you are familiar to, that you've heard all their stories before, and they tell their stories sometimes 20 times, and they don't even realize they've told you it already. But you listen and you oblige, and you sit and listen to the story for the 20th time, like my children listen to my stories over and over, and they roll their eyes and say, we know that story and what. But if you only connect with those, it's good to connect with those people, and that's another topic on its own, on how to live with your loved ones. But if you only connect with those people, and you only communicate with people that you are familiar with, you develop a groupthink that has this us and them syndrome. Some of us call it a clique. These guys have got a clique, and you find you cannot get in there. It's like a lot of South Africans, especially, we've because of the crime and because of all the negative stuff that we've grown accustomed to, our culture has become a lot more closed up. And I want to challenge the people at MyWealth to break out of that culture. That's something that I want to strongly propagate, that we start reaching out again, start listening to people's stories, arrange maybe a time where you sit around a fire at night and have a drink in the hand and just start chatting away, and start telling your story, and start extracting the stories out of other people. And there are ways and means to do that with, so I want to challenge you. Don't always be part of a clique and always hang out with the same guys and girls, and start reaching out beyond those comfort zone places, because that's where real growth are. Okay, that's where opportunities come. Very important statement, that one. Reach people who are very different from you and from your milieu and environment, from which for the most enriching experiences and the maximum learning experiences. Your life will be the most rich person if you have heard maybe 6,000 people's stories. Their biographies, it's easier to just go and ask him what his story is than to go and read his biography. It takes longer, I've discovered. So the way to come to know people personally is to listen closely to their stories. That's something that I've learned along my journey, is that, I have to make time for people. I have to make time for a person who is very different from me, who doesn't look like they have the same values or the same desires or the same interests. So what? If they have different, the better. Even better. Because, and I want to mention something here. God made people different on purpose. You are different from me for a flippin' good reason. The one next to you is different from you for a very good reason. That reason is so that we can embrace the diversity love one another for that diversity and for those differences, and so that we can be able to grow through other people. Relationships is our currency of growth. And some relationships you will have for a short period. I mean, I had a relationship with a guy for 5 minutes, and he enriched my life. And off he went, and I never saw him again. Don't even know his name, but he left an imprint on me. And that is what we're really all about. So when you learn from someone's story, you have not only learned, and this is a profound statement that has really defined my life. When you listen to somebody's story, you listen to his story, you learn from his story. You have only learned. You've not only learned something, but you walk away with a part of that person's life imparted to you. This is partly how influence takes place. So if you want to be an influential person, I would go and sit down and I would suggest to you, I would strongly advise, write your story down. Go and formulate your story and be real in that story. Tell the times when you were suffering. Tell the times where you were disappointed. Tell the times where you were going through some emotional struggles. Because you know what? People need to hear that sometimes. Because they go through that same thing at that time where you maybe went through it 5 years ago, and you give hope to that person. You see, the problem we have with the media today is that we only hear the negative. We hear stories on a daily basis. People tell stories all day long, but it's on media. Those people, those storytellers, are called journalists. Well, in most cases today, it's more of an activist. Journalists are people who are excellent at telling other people's stories. And I want you to be your own journalist. I want you to be the journalist for other people and tell stories of hope, tell stories of success, tell stories of how to get to success. That it's not something that happens overnight. It's something that comes with a journey. And when you have a journey, you write down in a journal. A journal goes along with your journey. You pen down what is the stuff that you've learned today out of your journey. And that's what makes up your story. And I want to encourage within MyWealth that everybody tells these stories. Hone your story. Tell your story to those who you want to bring into the club or into the clique. I hate that word, but anyway, let's into the family. That's the best word to use. So people that are walking around, start looking at people as they are living stories that are busy being told. That's what people's lives are. And if we look at people like that, and we come to them with a humble sincerity of, listen, I want to hear your story. I'm a very busy person, but I will give you 30 minutes. Why do we want to do that? Because when you listen to somebody, and this is also a principle that goes through for your loved ones. It goes throughout life. If you're willing to listen to somebody, you're giving him a message of, you know what, you matter to me. You are valuable. I love you. When you listen, you love. When you listen, you give that person hope that he's valid, that he's got something to add, value to add to people, that you listen to them with sincerity and listen to learn from them. You've given them a position and a platform where they can become a place of, they can find safety with you. Now, some people you will never see again, but our spouses, our children, our close friends. Some of us just want to talk, and we don't necessarily speak our stories. We just talk. And the ones who are the quietest, always in the room, I have found that, if I start pursuing those people and make room for them to start speaking their minds and start telling their stories, the most profound stories come out. And so I want to encourage everybody, don't be exclusive in your way of communication. Communication is one of the most important exchange or transactional. That's what transactions are, is communication. It's two-way. And I've also discovered that no leader or no person in this world is interesting to the point where you can always just listen to them. And they are talking monologue to you. And like I'm talking to you guys now. You know, you might listen to me once or twice. After the third time, you're going to feel, all right, can't we get another face, please? Can't we get somebody else's story in the place? Why? Because we are supposed to have dialogues. We're supposed to communicate. Communicate is a two-way street. It's never a one-way street. What I'm doing now is not necessarily communication. I'm planting thoughts to enable communication. So that's beautiful. Communication is one of the most important things. And I think as a generation, we've lost the art of communication. Communication is something that we have to start pursuing on purpose, where the previous generation, it came naturally. If you listen to the older people in the West Coast, you know, when media just came out, like Tola van der Merwe, Jan Spies, these kind of guys who grew up in a desert, they didn't have television, they didn't have the radio, some of them didn't even have the draadloos, but they were meeting in a bar, or they were meeting in a restaurant, or they're meeting on the beach, and they were making a fire, and they started telling their stories to people. Funny stories, good stories, comedy came out of that. And it was just beautiful to see how these people were able to convey their heart language in a way where they tell the story which could have been told in 5 minutes. They take 2 hours to tell the story. Because they go and fetch all the details behind the mountain. You know, we most of us would throw our toys out of the cot after the 5th minute and say, listen, guys, I don't have time for this. I'm going to go. Today's life, that's the way our lives are. But I would say, let's break away from our busy schedule. Let's take a holiday off where we're going to learn how to communicate like that, where we're going to make time for that kind of communication, where we tell stories where the details in that story is the most important thing, not just the punchline. We are punchline people in this generation, and we need to recover our communities. How we recover communities is to recover communication. And how we recover communication is to start listening to people's stories again, and to make them feel that they matter, and that they are loved, and that they do have a place in the society and in our community, so that they will not be left behind. Their stories are what unlocks their destiny within our communities. So why stories? Why not facts? Why not just a textbook? Throw a textbook at the guy and tell him to go and read it. Why stories? You know, in ancient cultures, his story, which is his story, this is where history comes from. It's his story that he told to his children. And then the children grow up and they tell the same story of the father plus their own story to the next generation. Now, one of the thoughts that came up to me was, you know what, 3 generations ago, I don't even know my grandfather. I don't know what he did. I don't know what his life was all about. My great-grandfather is a mystery to me. You go into Jewish cultures and the cultures that has kept stories alive 7, 8, 9, 10 generations. They know exactly what that great-great-great-great-grandfather and grandmother did. They knew everything about their lives. They knew their values. They knew the value system that they had. They knew the faith that they had. They knew the battles that those people fought. They knew how God came through for them in their journeys. They know the successes. They know the failures. And those are the treasures that were carried over from generation to generation. You know, and I've realized that I'm out of touch with the people that came before me. And previous generations told their stories, and the stories were the things that were really carried over from generation to generation. So there's a lot around stories that we can talk, and we can probably sit here and talk for another 2-3 hours on just my own personal story, your personal story. If this topic really becomes unpacked, we will discover that, you know what, people are all about stories. And God also has a story. We have a story. We have a story to tell within the biggest framework and the bigger picture of this world. And life lessons that are the best learned from real life itself. The best teachers in my life was people who told me their mistakes, who told me their failures, who told me that they fell hard, but they got back up. They were people who were open and honest about their mistakes and failures. And those were the best lessons I've learned in life, is through other people's failure and their mistakes. So it's best learned through real life experience, either from your own or from other people's lessons. We need to share those lessons freely in order for our lives to make sense and for our lives to add value to other people. I don't want to just hear your facts and the principles and how great you are, because we all know we are living in a fallen world with fallen people, and people make mistakes. People make trouble. Some of us make big mistakes, and we need to learn from those mistakes. Old age homes, it's a treasure trove of stories that we need to hear. So I like to listen to old people, because they have the time. They've retired now, and they're sitting there, and they've got their thoughts going on all day long. And when I sit with people like that, I make sure my flipping schedule is cancelled, and I make sure that I make time for them. So the best mentors and coaches in life are those who have made mistakes, and they care for people. That's something that I want to be as a coach, is that I care for people. I want to communicate my heart for people in their stories, but also be willing to tell them what is my mistakes. Also be willing to tell them where I faltered, where I've made decisions that could have been a better decision, and they learn from that. What would have been the better decision looking back? Because that person is still going to go there in the future. Maybe I've already walked the road, and I want to warn them that this is the pitfalls. You don't have to make the same mistake over and over and over. Okay, so we need to be open as coaches. We need to live vulnerably, and part of being vulnerable is to tell your story and to tell it honestly, and to be sincere about it. So meaningful learning is processed by memorable human communication. Meaningful learning, I'm going to say that again. Meaningful learning is processed by memorable human communication. So when I've learned something and I teach other people the same things that I've learned, it's kind of cemented into me. And that's one of the most powerful ways for you to learn and never forget anything. People might forget your name, your teaching, your looks, your speeches, your car, the things that you thought were defining you. People might forget those things. In most cases, they do forget those things. But they will never forget your story. The story that you told honestly about yourself is the thing that they will carry that for the rest of their lives with them. Stories are alive in their hearts. That's a piece of your life that is now in their hearts. Okay, the heart language is stories. Remember that. If you want to connect with people on heart level, tell your story, and get to listen to their story too. I want to share one of these videos that I've taken when I was on tour. And I want you to listen, attune your ear and your heart to what is the lessons you can learn from this person. What is it that you can identify with and this is a story of a guy who's an entrepreneur. He's made up his mind he's going to be an entrepreneur, and listen to him. I like it raw and uncut. My camera's the camera on my phone broke. This one broke, but I had the selfie one available. So I turned the phone like this, and I just tried to put it into his face and ask him, listen, can you tell your story for me? So it's a bit of a bad footage, but I hope you can listen and hear everything. So let me share the story, and let's attune your ear to what is the life lessons that you can learn from this and what you can identify with. All right, let me share my screen quickly.
This is a guy with a good story and a testimony.
Yeah.
Vertel my.
I'm starting maybe now, Maybe now already.
Sorry, Mr. again.
This is a guy with a good story and a testimony.
Yeah.
Vertel my.
I'm starting maybe now, Maybe now already. I'm doing maybe 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm starting Bushpark Ridge. I'm selling this one. Wipers, steering cover. Maybe now is 2 years. Bushpark Ridge. I'm going as a view. 2 years as a view. I'm selling. Now I'm coming Schalk.
Yeah.
Schalk now I'm running maybe 3 years. Schalk and Lize.
And you're doing well.
Everything if you pray, I tell you true. If you tell God, don't tell people.
Yeah.
Because if you tell people every day, fuck up you, they tell you, this one is bad, 1, 2, 3, don't help you. But if you tell straight God, blessing every day.
So he blesses you every day.
I tell you true. Because me, I tell you for myself, not someone who have small business, we try. For me, myself, if already we try. God to do miracle.
So how many children do you have?
2.
And you support them with this business?
True! And December, keep low all. Yes, if you. I tell you true, not the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Yeah. But maybe after 6 years, 7 years, God to give me shop.
Yeah.
The big shop. Because you see that small bucket.
Yeah.
That small bucket.
Yeah.
It's small,
Sure.
it's small bucket.
Yeah.
But one day that small bucket, don't forget to see me. If already we see me on open shop. Don't tell people, that guy is Coetzee. No, tell people that guy work hard. Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't forget
And
to
then God bless you the work of
don't
his
forget
hands.
to pray.
Yeah.
If you want something, tell straight God if you pray. God will bring. God will do miracle. To
Yeah.
get that thing. I tell you true.
You have a man of faith.
Me, I'm trust God.
Yeah.
Because long time, I'm trying that. Up and down.
Yeah.
And I'll not give up. If people look like me, look that guy is small bucket. I'm not laugh. Because I know one day is
Yeah.
one day.
One day is one day.
One day is one day.
Yeah.
One day God will do miracle. Maybe I'm buy maybe double cab Toyota.
Yeah.
People say, that guy selling drugs. Why you buy car? No, because he lazy, don't want to work.
Yeah.
Try to work. If you work, God will bless.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your testimony, man.
God
I'm going to
bless.
share with a lot of people this story.
Thank you.
It's a good story. I love
Yeah, because me already, brother, I tell you to do everything. Don't see someone who say, don't do like this. Try yourself.
it. Yeah.
Pray. If God wants someone who work hard, God don't want someone lazy, every day sleep. If you see someone, please help me, my friend, help me 10 rand. God don't do like this, don't want like this. Because if you do like this, tomorrow say, that guy is bad.
Yeah.
Because don't give you 5 rand. Why don't want to work?
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah, you can
If
do
you want something, work.
Yeah.
Don't say your neighbor, go your neighbor. Hey, please help me sugar, help me salt, help me spit graf, hamel. No, go hard way buy for you.
Yeah.
I tell you true because tomorrow say that guy is not right because they want to give you that hamel. It's not for you.
Sharp, my brother. Thanks, man.
Ciao.
Great testimony.
All right, so I think you caught what I'm trying to say. This guy has really touched my heart because at that certain day I was feeling in my own business the next orders didn't come in. With that kind of business that I had, within 1 or 2 days or 2 months, the profit of this month can easily be eaten up by the next 2 months if the orders don't come in. So he inspired me on a level that, because I was attuned to entrepreneurship, I was even teaching other people about entrepreneurship, but I needed some story or something that would just lift me up, and this guy lifted me right through to heaven, But what I've also realized is, how many people did I fob off before this guy? Because he's not my tribe, he doesn't look like me, he doesn't talk like me, he's not, this guy, do you think he's got a degree? Doesn't matter. We often think like, he's like, He doesn't have a degree. So what? You know, most people who have degrees, you don't find a job because you have a degree. Mostly, you will find your job because you have a story. Your character speaks of the story that you have in your heart. And your character is really all you have. A degree means nothing. I've seen that. And the people that I work with didn't even know that I have a degree up to very, very recently. So what I've seen is that it's not we don't have the right person to find one day. You know, God sends people that are most unlikely, or that looks the most unlikely, to uplift you, to enrich your life. And it's mostly the people who look far different from you. It's the diversity within this country that God has purposefully put there that will enrich you. If you only mix with your own tribe, you're going to become very bored. You're going to become as a person that is monotonous. Your life will be monotonous. Your journey will get stuck. You know, for how long I felt stuck. And when I started traveling and I started realizing that there's a story in every person, I got unstuck. The first tour that I did that I realized this. My journey started taking off again because I started tuning into those who are on a journey themselves. And I started finding that identification with fellow human beings. This is the most powerful thing that will unlock your story. If you are willing, humble, sincerely, starting to listen to other people's story, your life will be enriched like you've never been enriched before. So what are the principles and lessons that you can draw from this man's story? The entrepreneurial spirit that I've seen in South Africa, he's not the only guy that I've seen that has got this work ethic. He's got a story to tell, man. And he's, like we say in Afrikaans, Jan Allerman. Nobody knows him. Nobody sees him on television. There's no celebrity status or whatever. But he can enrich your life more than the celebrity can, if you are willing to listen. So the stories that are locked up in the people that are most different from you, those are the people that God will speak through to you. That's a powerful principle right there. Most people, and I've made a point also of talking to people who live on streets, who sleep under the bridge. You know, they've got some life has hit them hard. I wanted to listen to their stories too, and I made a point of it. Sitting next to them, bring them a hamburger or a pizza or whatever. I asked them, what do you like to eat? You know, I like a varkbout or whatever. Then I go and buy it for them. Give it to him, and then I start let him eat, and then I start listening. And you know, I've listened to countless of these stories, and the thing that most of those people have in common was that they stopped trying. You know, this previous story is, he says, I'm trying. 7 years. He's pursuing his dream. He didn't give up. He's still trying. And he will try until he gets his double cab Toyota, his dream of a shop. That small bucket is the beginning of, that's his little shop. But his shop will come because he's tenaciously following, putting the one foot in front of the other one, and he's following through on his dream. What are you doing with your dream? Are you following through? Are you willing to suffer 7 years to get that dream come true? This guy was an inspiration to me. You know, he made me decide that I'm not going to give up on my dreams. And it was a seemingly random meeting, but it was an encounter with God, because God is in that person. And I had to listen. I had to tune my ear to the voice of God, to listen to what God wanted to tell me on that day. And he encouraged me to start focusing and get my company in a direction and not give up. Seemingly random, But God had an appointment for me. Now, here's another question. There's another powerful statement I want to make. If you miss that appointment, you'll end up disappointed. Do you get that? Those who become disappointed are those who have missed their appointment with God. God has got an appointment with each and every one of you, and sometimes He comes in different forms. God never comes into us in the same form. We can't get familiar with God in that way. So what I'm really excited about is to start looking for God around the corners. Where is He hiding? Who is He hiding inside of? And then I want to have an appointment with God through people like this. So if you miss your appointment, you will be disappointed, because that appointment was supposed to promote you. There are people that you are supposed to meet that will lead to your promotion. But because you don't reach out, because you are stuck within your own self, too afraid to reach out, because you are too much in a comfort zone, guess what? That opportunity will never be unlocked. Opportunities are locked up in people. Your next opportunity is locked up in the person you don't even know yet. Some of us feel stuck because we don't get promoted in life. Yeah? Lothar, I like what you're saying, brother. I think you're getting the gist of what I'm saying, is that, God lives in people. His stories that He is telling through your life about His nature, His character, His abilities is coming through your life. Human capital is unlocked by trying. And when you try and try like this guy has told us, you will meet with somebody one day. Your preparation will meet with opportunity, and you will get a place of destiny and purpose and success. But we have to put ourselves out there. So in MyWealth, we've decided, we want to create a system and a family and an environment where this is conducive for this kind of framework that I'm talking about, where we will start realizing that people are what really matters in this world. I want to tell a bit of my story that I've told to some of the leaders who are maybe on this call already, and not to many of the shareholders. I was in the ministry, long story short, and the ministry didn't work out very well. I was disappointed, missed my appointments, and I burnt out after 5 years of very intense ministry, after, also building businesses and stuff, and having a very intense 5 years. I burnt out, and I was very disappointed. And I asked God, what is Christianity really all about? What is your story, man? Why did this not work out? What is church? What is all of, I questioned everything about my faith. And, like Dr. Ant also said, I'm prophetic, and I can hear God's voice. And I was listening, I was listening to God that day, and I asked Him, just give me one word. Just give me one word. What is Christianity all about? What is this whole faith thing all about? Just give me a sentence or a word that I can just clear my mind of all the other stuff and just focus on this one thing. Just this one thing. Tell me. And when you ask God a question, most of the time, He's quiet. And He was quiet for long. And I said to Him, I was listening and waiting, because I've learned to wait on God. And it was the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day. And I gave up. I said to Him, listen, you can tell me whenever you want to, but I'm not going to read my Bible. I'm not going to pray. I'm not going to do anything until I have gotten this answer. Took me about, it varies. In my mind, it feels like 5 years, but it was something like 2, 3, 4, 5 months. I'm not sure. But it felt like an eternity, because I started missing God. I started feeling, I want to get back into His presence. But I said to myself, and I said to Him, I'm not going back. until I've got this answer. You know, it's a dangerous thing to do sometimes, but I've done it. And while I was in the shower, funny enough, you know, you've got your special place where God starts speaking to you. It's like when your mind is at ease or at rest or just at random. I don't know, the state of mind where you're in, where you can listen, where you can hear Him without all the obstructions. So I was listening, and well, I wasn't listening. Sorry, no, I was not listening. I was trying to listen way back, and then I've just got on with my life. You know, started doing business full time. I left the ministry. I left everybody. Put my phone off if somebody phones for ministry. You know, I was just finished. I was hot full, for the lack of a better word. And then he said to me, it's about a relationship. Out of the blue. I was like, God, really? What are you talking about now? So he said to me, he reminded me about that question that I've asked. What does Christianity think it's about? He said to me, it's about relationship. Now, relationships were like priority number 55 on my list. Okay. That was not the thing I built in my life. I was pursuing success. I was pursuing of what in that sphere is considered to be success. I was, and I have tasted some success. And when he said to me relationship, I said, no, it can't be. You know, the theological minds kicking in and questioning and what, no, it can't be. He said to me, the number one, and the only priority is relationship. So I asked him, what about that scripture? What about that scripture? What about this? And we started like Jacob and the angel of God, started wrestling. And I was starting to wrestle with God. He said to me, I challenge you to go through the Bible, show me any scripture, and I'll tell you and show you how it is connected to a relationship. And he basically categorized it for me in four different relationships. It's relationship with God, relationship with yourself, relationship with others, and relationship with your environment. Those four things. The Bible is a textbook on how to live successfully in those four relationships. It shocked me. It gave me culture shock. It gave me all kinds of different shocks, because what we were pursuing while building a church, it was not that. Yeah, we would try to get better sermons out there. We tried to get better songs. We tried to get all the other things. And the picture that jumped up in my mind is that we every Sunday see the back of the person sitting in front of us. And so my whole life was changed. Everything was revolutionized from that day forward. I've realized that, God is more preoccupied with relationship than with anything else. He's made the human being for relationship with himself. I mean, just the first time when God was mentioned, he said, let us make man. Or some in the first chapter of Genesis. So he said to me, you see there? I said, what? Let us make man. All right, so you made us. Wonderful. He said, no, us made man. The Godhead is a relationship. There are, in fact, 6 relationships within the Godhead. 3 persons, each of them having 2 relationships. It shook me, and it totally put me up the right way up. Where we realized, okay, when I was born, when I was conceived, it was out of relationship. When I was born into this world, it was out of a relationship with my mother. I was already connected. From conception, I was from God, who was a relationship, into my mother's womb, who out of relationship and intimacy. So we will never get away from this one thing, is that the success of our relationships in life will determine our altitude and the success of our lives ultimately. Now, what builds the relationships? It's communication. What is the thing that builds trust? It's communication. What is the thing that builds relationships? It is communication. What is the thing that starts relationships and unlocks relationships? Stories. Communication of stories, because that's the language of the heart. So when you listen to people, you show them you love them. For your spouse who don't feel heard, don't listen. Just listen. Say, this hour, the next hour, I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to listen to your heart. Whatever you want to tell me, tell me. When these stories are heard, the message conveyed to their hearts is that they matter and they are valued by you. Every single person matters to God, and every person should matter to us that we meet and come across. And I've decided, and it's a conscious decision that I had to make, is that I want to make every person's life better that I meet with. How? It's not always possible because there are millions of people. But when I'm going somewhere and I can see that somehow God has connected me with a person on my journey, whether it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or years to come, doesn't matter. I want to be able to tell them my story in 2 or 3 minutes, and I want them to be able to glean something from that story, and I want to listen to their short stories. Some people like it long. You need more time for that. But my life has changed since I've gone on this journey of listening to people, learning how to engage with people, similar to what the previous generations have. It was natural for them, but we have to still recover that. And with all the different communication mediums that we have, it's funny that most of these communication mediums have actually broken down our meaningful communication. And that's the dichotomy that we're living in. The world that we live in today is that you know what? We've got all these channels, but so what? I want to share quickly another story with you. I'm going to share my screen quickly. And this is a story of a community. And this is really also one of the things that I want to see in MyWealth, and that we really are going to work hard in accomplishing. Sorry, let me just do this. Okay, you can see that. This is a community in Schalk where people from different communities and different races and languages came together. Yeah, Schalk. You remember what happened in Schalk? That's where supposedly the devil planned to divide our nation and divide the people of this country. But God has got the last say here, where communities from different colors, tribes, and tongues came together and they started taking back the power that they have. The human capital inside of them was unlocked, and they started fixing their own potholes, and they started fixing their own country up, or their own countryside and the roads and everything. There's a movement in South Africa coming. Now, this is the prophetic part of me speaking. It will be a people's movement that will not be stopped, and that cannot be stopped, that will be Holy Spirit inspired, and that will change the landscape of this country forever, where the politicians, where the people who try to divide and conquer this country will ultimately fail in that purpose of that they had. And the people of South Africa will rise up, and they will see this kind of thing that we are looking at here, at these pictures. We will start seeing a movement that will not be stopped, that we will not settle for second best, that we will put the proper government in place who are able to govern in a godly fashion, in a righteous fashion, and that these kind of things will be taken care of by the people. It's time that the people of God take back the power that we have given away to the government. We've given it away to somebody else to take care of, given the responsibility to them. And when we give the responsibility away to other people, we give the power that we have to change things. We also give that away. So that's my story on this. I want to just quickly say that they started finding each other. And there's a lot of stories that is going to come forth from this. But this is the trajectory that South Africa is taking currently. And that's just now, let me make it personal again. what is your story and your part that you're going to play in this movement? You see, in MyWealth, we've got the system and the financial backbone that will unlock this movement and fund this movement with the materials that they need to rebuild this country. One of the things that we will also restore back is the communication channels directly in this movement. We're going to have our own communication channels through radio stations, TV stations, whatever stations we need. But I want people to tell their positive stories about South Africa. I want people to be able to tell the hopeful stories about South Africa. I want them to start embracing the beauty of South Africa again, that we will become patriots of all colors once again, and that we will be able to say, South Africa, you are safe because we've taken action. We've taken the reach out that is needed, the outreach from your own selfishness and self-centeredness to reach out and start touching other people and start listening to their stories. And I found that, people in South Africa have got generally the same issues. Everybody are sick and tired of the status quo. We want to see something better. We want to see our nation united once again, because that's our destiny. We need to be united to be able to get to our destiny. And those who constantly speak division and speak, stuff that are contrary to our destiny are irritations. They are irritations to the soul and to the spiritual man that are inside of us. And we're getting to a point where now it's a boiling point where we say, all right, listen, enough is enough. We don't want this status quo. So we're going to set up our own financial hub, financial backbone, that we can be able to see this movement sustained for as long as South Africa is a country. So all people want to be heard and to be part of a success story. What is your part that you're going to play in the success story? What is the story you're going to tell in this success story? Because you have a part to play in South Africa. You were born in this country for a reason. And for those who are overseas, the same thing goes for your country that you were born in. God didn't make a mistake. You were born into that country by absolute intention. Success is created by those who are willing to risk their reputations, their comfort zones, and to become the solution in the midst of a crisis, of the meltdowns in our communities. You see, crisis is in Chinese, they've got two different meanings for the word crisis. The one is crisis is where everything is melting down, falling apart, a condition that is really one of negativity. And then the other part of the word crisis is the word opportunity. Now, South Africans, we're standing at a place where we have an opportunity to take our destiny into our own hands and to start making a difference in terms of this country must get to her destiny. This country is called to be a nation that will be a breadbasket for the rest of the world. We are the answer to the world's problems. South Africa is really a nation where people will find refuge and will find solutions to their problems. And we have an innovative and a giver gift from God. The redemptive gift, the motivational gift of South Africans is one to give to the other nations, to become a solution to their problems. Our innovation and spiritual or entrepreneurial spirit in South Africa is really unmatched anywhere in the world. The richest guy in the world is from South Africa. It's not just because he's in America. That capital, human capital, was supposed to be unlocked in South Africa. But because of the status quo, many of them go overseas. So we have some work to do within South Africa to keep those people here. And we can really make a big difference. Really make a big difference and change this world. Okay, so now I've started from stories, and I'm telling you a story of the future that we are going to tell in the future. All right. I'm nearly finished. Ek sien hierdie oom wil inklim hier. All right. Nelson Mandela said the following. South Africa will work as a nation if the good people from the black community and the good people from the white community reach out and find one another and seeking and pursuing for the greater good. When black and white find each other, the good people that have been quiet for 26 years, those are the good people. We've been quiet. We've really just sucked up all of the stuff that was contrary to our destiny. But now is the time where black and white, colored and Indian are taking hands. We're saying, we're coming together. We're going to make the difference. So the people are finding one another. Yeah, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. Now I want to challenge you. Go and set out a biography for yourself. It can be a videography. It can be a written format, whatever. Just write a biography, an outline for your life until you're 100 years old. Okay? Reverse engineer the book to where you are now. Write the highlights of your past, your lessons learned, your good and bad experiences, your adventures that you lived, the people that you met, how they impacted your life, what you recall of those stories that when you met them and how they enriched your life. Also include life-changing decisions and encounters that lead to major changes and growth points. Then write down your dreams that are supposed to be written down for the future, like I've done now. I've started projecting the story into the future, which is what prophetic is. Then write dreams down. Write your dream down and start making goals. Make your dream practical so that it will become your goal. And then, are you willing to pay the price for those goals and dreams to be met? And when contradictions hit your life, are you willing to develop the skills, the patience, the character to start really where the tacky hits the tar, to go up and up and up and follow this curve right to your destiny? Then write your dreams down, like I said, and your calling, because the Bible also says you call those things that be not just as though it were. So when you have an outline of a biography into the future, you're basically telling yourself, this is the trajectory that my life has to take. This is my end goal. This is my end destiny that I want to reach. And then start breaking it up into decades of your life and then plan accordingly. It's not going to work out according to plan. I can tell you that now. But that's where the story is being told. There where life happens, the real life. So I like it raw and uncut. Now, what has this got to do with investments? What has this got to do with investing? Well, it's got everything to do and it's got absolutely nothing to do with it. Because when people invest, they invest into people. You don't invest into a money-making something. You invest into people first. The 3 T's is the only thing that you have to invest. Your time, your treasures, which is money, and your talents. If you're firing on all of your cylinders, you will invest in all of those three areas. And you have an investment to make into a community or into a company of people. That company of people, that's what companies are. That's what businesses are. Businesses are made up of people together. What is their common goal, their common mindset, their groupthink, their common purpose, their mission, their vision? Those are different individuals that will take you to that destiny. And that's what you invest in. Your money is the thing that you invest. And you have certain expectations of a return. But when you do life together with the people that you invest in, you are going to get the return. And you will be enriched in more ways than just money. And that's what MyWealth is really all about. At MyWealth, we want to rebuild this country, and one person at a time, unlocking your destiny and your story. So, my China, what is your story?
Schalk, I want to thank you on behalf of everybody. That was absolutely profound. I think all of us have had the opportunity to meet with you, and I'd love to put on sale tonight Campfire Stories by Schalk Botha. I know that there'll be orders around here, and I've just placed his email address, because I do know and I just sense that our people would like to reach out to Schalk. So there is his email address, schalk@mywealthholdings.com. And Schalk, on behalf of all of us, we'd like to thank you for a superb job done. We have one thing to do, take up the task and to write our story. So from all of us, we love you, we appreciate you, and we can't wait to see and hear more from you in the future as we develop together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, then it's over to our next speaker. As you guys know, that we have 2 guest speakers every time we have the IBC, but we promise you that we will stick to our time of not going beyond 9 o'clock. And I'm very excited with what we are about to hear, because there's a development being in our business that is literally going to take all of us to the next level, because we will be able to be healthy, to be able to enjoy that next level. So I'd like to introduce you our speaker tonight that is really the backbone of support to our founder director, Schalk. This person, very quietly, behind the scenes, is doing more than people would ever expect of being an influence, being a foundational pillar, being head of our guardian team, helping us establish MyWealth in the right way going forward. Not only does she look after us from the spiritual point of view, however, she's also the MD for MyHealth Complete. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking about none other than the wonderful Lize Coetzee. Lize, I know that you're going to have a PowerPoint to take us through MyHealth Complete, and we are welcoming you on board and can't wait to hear your voice and to hear your input. Thank you so much. Please go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. What a privilege to have this platform tonight. Thank you, Doc, and thank you, Schalk. You really inspired me to go and communicate more effectively. That's really an honor and awesome value to have, to communicate with people. Right. So I'm the director of MyHealth Complete. MyHealth Complete was born in the beginning of COVID lockdown, and I believe it was born straight from the throne of God. So we're going to the next slide, and it is our vision. What is MyHealth Complete's vision? It is healing the nations. So let me just explain that in itself. It's such a deep statement, healing the nations. That means soul, spirit, and body. It's not only your physical body, because if your soul is negative, your mind, your intellect, and your spirit is depressed, it will have an effect on your body. Your body will get sick. So that is why we are taking it further than just healing the physical body, but your soul and your spirit as well. And what is our mission? Our mission is providing a natural quality health solutions. So God gave us nature for a reason. He put all the medicine, all the herbs, all the plants, all the spices that we need to nourish and heal our bodies. He gave it to us in nature. And I want to connect that with what Schalk said. We have a relationship with our environment. And that is so important to know what is out there and to take part of it. I mean, the 3 gifts that was given to Jesus when he was born was frankincense and myrrh and gold. And everybody was focusing on the gold, especially in the modern day. What about the frank and what about the myrrh? Wonderful properties in those 2 magnificent trees, plants. So I'm going in to our disclaimer now. Sorry, this is a bit technically, just bear with me. So all information regarding health and wellness is provided purely for informational purposes and should not be considered as medical advice. It is not intended to be used as a basis for treatment for medical problems or other health issues. Please consult a medical professional before using any of our products anywhere to treat your medical condition. The information provided is based on testimonials. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases. As with all new products that you are going to begin using on your skin, always try a small area first to see if any allergic reaction or breakout occur. If you have any problems, discontinue use immediately. If you are pregnant, please contact your physician before using any of our products, especially with essential oils. Please consult us immediately before using on children and animals. And also, when you purchase our products, we will be sending out application directions, and it's very important to follow those directions. So that's a bit of technical stuff. Now I'm going into what are we doing? What products do MyHealth Complete offer? So during the COVID, as I said, we formulated a whole range of pure essential oils. So we source, our suppliers are locally sourced. We're always looking for the best, the purest oils. And I can guarantee you, if it's not pure, I will not use it in the products. I don't know if anybody has knowledge about essential oils, but it is quite an extensive course that you have to go through. You know, the quantities, the ratios, the way you're mixing it. You can't just use a pure essential oil directly on your skin. That it's too strong for you. So you have to dilute it with a carrier oil, which is usually a grapeseed oil or an olive oil. Then I want to just focus a bit on, put some emphasis on that we are not new age. We don't believe in, you know, rearranging your aura and aligning the energies and the positive energies and all that new age jazz. We are not new age. We are a biblical based company, the way God intended for this products to be used originally. All right, I'm going to dive in and start with our first product. It is called After Bath. Now, After Bath is one of our latest additions to our catalog, and it is an after bath or shower cream, especially when you have just showered and you have a dry skin and a flaky skin. Wonderful product. Just use it right before or just after you bath or showered, and you can use it on children. I've got an excellent testimony on this product on my own child. Herman, he is 2.5 years old. He suffered from eczema when he was a baby. It was really bad. Yeah, I thought maybe the people thought I was abusing him or something. It was really bad eczema. So I started using this cream on him, and we never looked back again. It cleared up perfectly, and therefore it's safe for children. So this wonderful blend is consists out of clove, geranium, lavender, tea tree, rosemary, and spikenard. So most of you, if you don't have the knowledge of what is essential oils, these names are gonna sound very strange to you. All right, so just bear with me. Right, our next product is Wonderworks. Wonderworks is a must-have in any household. It helps to regenerate from damage or injury tissue like cuts, scrapes, insect bites. This is the aftercare of the insect bites. It really helps. It clears it up. It heals it within, I would say, 12 hours. My little girl, she gets rashes a lot, and she it would itch a lot, and I would just put on Wonderworks, and you can't believe it. Within an hour or two, it is gone. It's gone. There's no evidence of being there in the first place. All right, and it helps with bumps, like I said, bruises. And the one day, I must tell you this, I was at a MyWealth meeting there at the old building in Centurion, and I was preparing the urn for the coffee during the break, and that urn, they didn't have a handle. So when I opened it, my hand got burned with that hot steaming steam that came from the urn. And I was just holding my pose and it was really sore, and I knew this is going to make a blister. So immediately, luckily I had my products there that day, I put on Wonderworks cream, and it burned for like 2 minutes and then it was gone. There was not even a blister, no, the redness went away. So this is really a great cream to have in your house. All right, it consists out of tea tree, rosemary, and clove, and it comes in an oil, a 10 milliliter oil roller, as well as a 100 milliliter jar of cream. So you can choose which one you prefer best. All right, I'm going on to the next slide. It's called Knots Away. It's an essential oil specifically made for people suffering from gout, too much acidity in the body. So if that happens, your body retaliates and it starts creating bumps on your, especially on your hands and on your feet. So what you do, you just apply this directly on the area, and every day, and then it will gradually disappear. All right, within this corner, you will see a picture of a plant. If you want to chat with me in the chat box, I'm running a special on Knots Away today. If you can tell me what is the name of the plant in this picture, I will give you away a free Knots Away oil. All right, so you can just type your answers there. And I see you are the first. Well done. Okay. All right, Anity, you are the winner of our Knots Away oil. That is, of course, the fennel herb. All right. Okay, the next slide. I'm going, ladies, sorry, men. This one is specifically for the ladies. It is our product. It's called Happy Balance. Now, for those mid-age ladies suffering from menopause, and it feels like the one moment you're freezing and the next moment it's 1,000 degrees and it's horrible, you want to climb into the pool. So this wonderful oil balances out all those deurmekaar crazy hormones in your body, and it helps support the thyroid for metabolic and hormonal balances. So it's perfect if you suffer from any hormone imbalances. Wonderful cream. I've been on it since the product was launched. And the one day I did a test, I said, I'm going to leave it for a month and see what happens. I'm not going to do that again. All right. So my body needs the product. Remember, we are using natural products, and natural is not a quick fix. All right, so it's going to take time. All right, so perfect. It consists out of spearmint, sage, geranium, myrtle, nutmeg, and German chamomile. Thank you. I'm going on to the next slide. It is our next product. It's called Breathe Easy. This one was especially formulated for people suffering from asthma, or if you have bad sinuses and you can't sleep at night, you just put it on your throat, on your chest, and suddenly everything goes open and you can breathe again. So it helps with respiratory issues. And lately, I've found that the peppermint in this product helps with stomach ache as well. So if your stomach is not well, just put it around on your stomach clockwise, and it will ease the pain in the stomach. Right, so perfect product. We've got loads of testimonies on Breathe Easy and people leaving their asthma pumps. Wonderful, wonderful oil. All right, it consists out of peppermint, lavender, eucalyptus, myrtle, pine, marjoram, cypress, sunga, ravensara, lemon, and winter green. Wonderful. People, if you have any questions regarding the products, I'm going to give you my info at the end. And please feel free to contact me directly or email me. All right, I'm going over to the next slide. This one especially formulated for people suffer from insomnia. So I've tried it on Schalk, and I hope he can testify that it works, but I believe it can. And it is a wonderful oil. It helps you to relax. For those that mind that doesn't want to switch off at night when you go to bed and it thinks about all the stuff you still need to do. Wonderful product. And I think, Schalk, you also said one day that your wife spilled a bit of lavender in your house and you couldn't stay awake. So that was perfect. So it means that it works, and it's a wonderful product to have in
Definitely
your home.
works.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, and it consists out of cedarwood and bergamot, which got also very relaxing and sedative properties. Okay, right, then we're going over to no worries. Now, in this modern age, we are all struggling with stress, financial stress, relationship stress, stress about sickness, or whatever your circumstances are. No worries will take away those overwhelming feelings of stress. Let your body just calm down, relaxes, and it actually helps to stabilize your mood swings as well. So a must if you're a person that is keen to overreact in situations, this is a perfect oil for you. You just apply a bit behind your ears and under the bottoms of your feet, and it will work wondrously, calm you down, and yeah, no more tantrums, freaking out about little stuff. All right. Our next product, I must say, is our top seller. This is an awesome product. It's called Awi. Yes, it's a pain oil, and we've made it into a cream as well. So any pain, if you suffer from an old injury, or if you have any kind of pain, muscle pain, bone pain, I put it on my feet. Sometimes my feet are so sore, I can't walk. That is a wonderful, wonderful product to put on any area of pain. If you suffer from lower back or even back pain, that's why we created the cream. The cream is there to cover larger areas of your body, while the oil is just, you can keep it in your handbag if you are at someone else's house or you're far away from home and you suddenly have a pain somewhere, and then you can just put a bit on. Very easy, very convenient. All right. Then my personal favorite is TENS. If you suffer from neck spasms, if you work on computers a lot, or if you suffer just a lot of spasms in your legs, in your shoulder blades, in wherever there is spasm, this wonderful oil, you can't believe it, will work within seconds. You just rub it on wherever there's tension, even headaches, tension from headaches, it relieves it immediately. So what a great product to have. All right, it consists out of basil, marjoram, lavender, peppermint, and cypress. Okay, all right, I'm going to go on to the next one. Now, these are two of our latest oils. We created them in the beginning of this year. It can be used as an anointing oil, and it has healing properties as well. So I'm going to start with Joyful. Joyful is exactly what it says. If you refer back to scripture in the Bible, it says it's the oil that makes you glad. What a perfect oil. It makes you glad, and it takes away all the impurities and all the ugly stuff in your body. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful oil to have in your house. Natural almond, it consists out of myrrh, yang yang, and frankincense. Also a powerful a combination of oils. Like I said, biblical. You can use it for many ailments and also as an anointing oil. All right, then our big anointing oil, wonderful product. Now this is the big mama, like I call it. Now this one is called Protect, and it contains 9 different biblical oils. So I did a study on all these oils, and there's scripture about them all over the word. And it's really, really significant on what each of them can do and the abilities each of them have. And this oil expels diseases. So especially with dead tissue, it makes your body get rid of all the diseases and the dead tissue. And definitely if you're a mature born-again believer and you do true worship and intercession sessions, and sometimes there's warfare that's part of the program. Wonderful oil to just protect yourself, your family, and your loved ones around you. All right, next one. After a hard day's work, you are tired, you climb into bed, and suddenly you hear this buzzing in your ears. So irritating. Or you are hosting a nice barbecue braai at your house, and the guest starts complaining about all the irritating mosquitoes biting them. So, Doc Ant, I know the ingredient in this oil. I know you love it. It's called buchu. No, he's gonna laugh at me. But it's luckily a combination of cedarwood, bergamot, citronella, lemongrass, lavender, myrtle, tea tree, and rosemary. A powerful combination to keep those irritating bugs away. You just put it on the areas wherever the bugs are bugging you. All right. So this is the prevention. Prevention of bug bites is the anti-bug. And the aftercare is the one that works, the one that I've already explained. All right. Then our next product is called Move Around. Move Around is for all those aching joints, and it's especially formulated for people suffering from arthritis, and it helps to break down those crystals that forms underneath the skin caused by arthritis. And it just helps you move around easily. Wonderful product. Some people get arthritis everywhere, also in their hands, their feet, their knees. So you just apply it on the area of concern, and that is a wonderful, wonderful product. Then this picture in the corner, I'm not going to give away another oil. So I'm just going to challenge you. Who know what is this picture? All right, if you can tell me, that'll be wonderful. Who knows what plant is this picture? You can just type your answers into the chat box, right? No one? No one knows the answer. Australian wintergreen. There you go. You are the winner, Talu. Okay. Okay. Now, our latest addition to the whole range, it's called Herb Defense. Wonderful product. This is the only one you can digest and ingest. The oils are not digestible or ingestible. It's only topical. So please, Herb Defense, the only one that comes in a capsule. It contains cayenne pepper, cinnamon, turmeric, ginger, and black pepper. All those wonderful stuff that you find in nature right in front of you. So all these lovely benefits, I'm just going to call a few. Blood sugar levels. It helps to regulate your blood sugar levels. And another one I'd like is boost absorption of nutrients. So you can use a lot of vitamins and minerals, but if your body don't know how to absorb those nutrients, it's useless to your body. So these capsules help absorption of nutrients. Wonderful product. It helps cholesterol, helps regulate blood pressure. It helps prevent Alzheimer's, detoxify heavy metals. It helps, it's also a pain reliever, helps with chronic indigestion, and obviously nausea. The ginger in here will definitely help with nausea. All right. That is the end of MyHealth Complete's product range. The next few slides is products that we are reselling and is really, really beneficial to your body. I'm just going to go through them. So it's not our own products. It's products from other companies that we endorse. All right. Okay. The first one is called Bespoke Nutrition. It is a shake. And one thing I love about this product, if you buy a shake at the pharmacy or wherever, you will taste that there is sugar or sweetener in it. This product, if you taste it, it's actually salty. So the guy that developed it just said, why do I want to put extra sweeteners and stuff into the product if it's not necessary? All right. So the goal for this product is a probiotic, and it helps protect the gut lining of viruses and bad bacteria. So one of your defenses when a bacteria or a virus enters into your body is your gut. So if your gut is unhealthy, then viruses will live freely in there, and bacteria as well. So this product helps to maintain gut health. It is a wonderful product. You just take it daily. And it comes in different formats. It's a recover. It comes in a sport formula for those guys who are gymming and once more building muscle, mental clarity and energy. It's a wonderful product to have in your house as well. Right, then another one that we endorse that we are reselling is Power Strips. Most of you would know what this product is. Basically, it helps relieve pain. So you put it on the area where there's pain, you apply it, it's like a plaster. You plaster it on, put it on that area, and you will feel a heat sensation. If you feel that sensation, it means it's working. It's helping to take out all the inflammation in that area. I personally use it for sinus problems. So just before I go to bed, I cut a slim strip of it and I placed it over the breech and over my cheeks. And you can't believe it opens up every breathing channel and allows you to sleep better. That's one of the uses. Many people use it for wound healing, and there's loads of testimonies about this product all over the internet if you want to go and have a look. All right, the next one, also another company that produces this, it's called Pure EU, and the main ingredient in this product is called marine phytoplankton. Right, so what is marine phytoplankton? It is an algae that grows under ocean, and it's part of a main diet for whales. So they thrive on this stuff, and it's freely available in the ocean. What a wonderful, nutritious product to put in a bottle. I mean, our body needs it. Our body have to have healthy cells, and that's what it does. It supports healthy cell membranes, promotes energy, vitality. It's an excellent source of micronutrients, and it's suitable for all ages and pets. Even babies, you can give it to babies. Now, I've got one testimony about this product that I would like to share. One of our clients had liver failure, and the doctor told her, you know what, you're not going to make it. I'm giving you a month to live. She started using this product, and this was about a year ago, and today she's still alive. She's using this product. What a great testimony, and yeah, wonderful product. And that is it. That is my whole product range that we have to offer. There's the product order process. Any questions, if you can email me, lize@myhealthcomplete.com, or if you want to place an order, just send it through to there with all the details, your name and your number, delivery address, delivery methods. We use Postnet to Postnet, 99 Rand for maximum of 5 kgs. Courier guy, door to door, is 100 Rand. Small items only. And you can pick it up at MyHealth Complete's Ferry Glen office. That's for free. For now, we are using MyWealth Methods banking details still, but soon we will have MyHealth Complete own banking details. All right, wonderful. Okay, and everybody's asking, what is the costs? Right. So our costs for the 10 milliliter rollers are between 120 and 140 Rand per roller. It's already mixed with the right ratios. You can just apply it with essential oils. Very, very important to use the correct ratios, which you can harm your body if you don't do that. Very, very important. All right, ailment creams. You can see the price there for 100 milliliter jars. It's $250. And if you would like to buy only the oils, 12 premixed oils, different ones, it'll cost you 1,360 Rand. And for the whole range, including all the ailment creams, all the oils, it will be 2,360. All right. Any questions? Anybody wants to ask something, you're welcome to unmute yourself and ask away.
I must say the one question coming out, Lisa, is are people in Germany, USA, and Egypt asking, are we going to make these products available? And if we do, have we looked at what it would cost? I said from my side, we'll have to take that to the board to discuss, but it just shows that there's interest from our neighboring countries and our members in those countries.
Okay, no, that's a wonderful question. Yes, we definitely want to expand and go globally. Yes, let's discuss it. I'll get a few quotes on shipping to go overseas and so on.
So the one question was, obviously there was one for gout, there was one for a product for gout and a product for arthritis. And the person wanted to know, do you use just the one for arthritis or do you use both for arthritis swelling?
No, you can only use the one. If you've got both problems, you can use both, but not at the same time. You can apply the one in the morning and the one at night time.
And then the price for herb defense, which was really a superb product.
Oh, sorry, yes, it's not on yet. It's so new. It's not on yet. The price is 250 Rand for 60 tablets of capsules. 250 Rand for 60 capsules.
Anybody else want to ask a question, guys?
Capsules per day. All right, I will answer that one. The capsules per day, you start with the first 5 days. You have to take 2 per day. And after that, only 1 per day.
Lotar's coming to South Africa and wants to know, can he pick up a package when he's here? It's around the 18th. I'm sure that we can do that for you, Lotar?
Yes, yes, of course. Yes. All right. Okay, I think the best thing is contact me directly, Lize@myhealthcomplete.com, or I can just put my cell phone number here. Also, on the 13th, that's also possible. Yes, sure. All right.
In fact, I think it's imperative that we have the range available for the leaders on the 13th to taste, feel, see the product and to put it on sale there. So yes, guys, we will, and we will assist Lisa with that.
Wonderful. Yes. And Anati, thank you for your right answer. I will send you that not so oil. All right. Thank you, everybody. Yes, Schalk would want to say a few words. All right, I'm handing over to him.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed a wonderful IBC, and I want to just thank Schalk and Lize and Dr. Anthony for hosting this call tonight and sharing their their stories with you. Yeah, I think we can all learn a lot from each other. And yeah, again, thank you for trusting us with your time. And I look forward spending some time with the leaders on the 13th and going live with all the different services and products MyWealth will bring you in the next couple of months. Anthony, over to you.
Thank you, Schalk. Lisa, sir, firstly, on behalf of everybody else, I would like to thank you for a very succinct PowerPoint. Thank you for the quality of the PowerPoint with the information on it. I just have a feeling that there are individuals that are going to beg you for that PowerPoint because it explains the entire range. And I'm looking forward to the leaders meeting on the 13th, where we'll be able to physically have the stock in hand. And as already promised, Lothar, he'll be in South Africa and take some to Germany for himself and other people. So we'd like to thank you for your presentation. Beautifully done. Thank you for the quality PowerPoint. And then, folks, from me, the last thing to be said is that our next IBC will be on Thursday, the 8th of April. It will be the second Thursday because of the public holidays that ensued before that. So that will be the 8th of April. And the guest speaker that we have lined up for you will help you understand how you can maximize yourself using your strengths. It's going to be a very interesting one, so don't miss it. So for my two speakers tonight, Schalk, Botha, Lize, Coetzee, you guys were absolute rock stars. We love you, we appreciate you, and to everybody else, God bless you and have a great evening. Goodbye.